Welcome to the Mental Edge.
Jeez, what are we doing in here? I know that ain't a Bud Light.
That's for sure.
Anyway.
It's a prebiotic.
Oh my goodness.
We're sitting so close.
Yes.
I miss you.
But you know what? Yeah, like it's not
I can't
bad,
quit
though.
you, Fernando.
I can't quit you.
That's right.
Yeah.
I have nowhere to put this.
So,
The only thing intimidating about where we're sitting today is the guns I'm next to.
yeah. Thank you. I'm trying.
Dude.
I'm
You
getting
really
what?
did.
The heck?
But I'm down. Dude, I weigh $130. That's pitiful.
$130?
Yeah.
Wow. Emmerich passed
As
you
much
up.
as most men's left leg. It's ridiculous,
yeah,
right?
That's kind of crazy. Yeah. Well, I'm excited because today we are in the house with the love of my life, and she is going
And Susanna.
to share. Yeah. And she's gonna share. That's good. She's gonna share all kinds of goodies about her life, and there's also gonna be a story that she's never shared before. I want to get that out right away.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yep, so
The
that we
pressure
can
is
be-
on now.
Yeah. So let's start this the right way. I am Fernando Lopez Jr.
And I'm Jay Casey.
I'm Susanna Lopez.
Woohoo!
And this is...
The MentalEdge podcast. That's it.
Something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Something like that. Something like that. Something like that. Something like that. Something like that.
And I wanted to, I guess, start with, maybe you telling us a little bit about yourself, and we like to call that the origin story.
Yeah. We'd love to know who
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah.
At least the people listening would.
Yeah.
We know you pretty well.
Where you were born, where you were raised, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could tell me like that.
Well, thank you for having me on. My origin story. So, I was born in Machias, Maine, all the way up
No, bet you didn't know that.
by
I didn't.
Canada.
Wow.
People literally my social security starts with zeros.
Weird.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, "Are you from the States?" I'm like, "Yes, I am. I'm just born all the way up by Maine."
Hey,
Wow.
007.
Yeah.
Is that right?
The higher
Is it
you're born, the
007?
lower your social security number?
Outside of the country, it starts with zeros.
I didn't know that.
So they think that I'm like from somewhere else.
Oh.
Oh, she's up by Canada.
Yeah.
Right up there.
I think-
she can throw a rock.
I never knew that. That's an interesting tidbit of information, though.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you're a citizen, but you're outside, but you came from outside of the country, they got some zeros on you. Okay.
All right. So, and I guess I'd like to also ask, do you have any brothers and sisters?
Yes, I have an older sister, and then I have a older brother and a younger brother, and then I had another brother as well, and he had passed away.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that either.
So are you?
That's news for me.
You're not the last born.
I am a middle child syndrome
What?
in the house.
Missy is too, and she believes in it. I could try to talk her out of it. She believes in it.
There is some truth to middle
Yeah,
child
it's
syndrome.
the whole hand-me-down thing. It killed her.
Oh yeah.
She hated it because she said, my sister didn't have no style. Oh. So she was like, I was getting these.
Yeah.
I had the opposite. My sister didn't want to share with me.
Oh, that's even.
Like,
Wow.
that was, why are you taking my clothes? Don't, I looked up to her and I wanted to be like her, and it was like, no.
And at some point, you guys could wear the same clothes, right?
No.
I tried.
Yeah, Susanna was like a foot taller than her, after second grade.
Okay. Yeah.
So she is pretty short. She's only 5'1",
Okay.
and I'm 5'8".
Yeah, you're up there. No doubt.
No diggity,
I'm jelly.
no doubt. Yeah. So where'd you end up when you finally came out to Indiana?
So actually, when my mom came to Indiana, I was 2 years old. I still have family in Maine. But we moved to Highland, Indiana, and I was raised in Highland till about 6th grade.
Okay. And what kind of life was it growing up like for you?
It was hard. It was really hard. When I was 6, I had My dad molested me when I was 6, and that was when my mom and dad actually split up. So there was a feeling of it was my fault, feeling abandoned, feeling of it was my fault, feeling abandoned. When my dad left, not knowing exactly what had happened, and then being now raised by a single mom
With 4 kids.
with 4 kids. Under.
Wow.
She was probably working a lot.
Yeah, she was.
What
She was
did
working
that
a
look
lot.
like for you?
I did. I remember missing a lot of school in probably like 4th, 5th grade. I feel like I missed half the year. And
Really?
Yeah.
Just because of life, or were you helping? What was going on? Or were you, it was just, life was difficult, Susanna, so you were checking out even as a young kid? Or it was, everything?
It was not even remember going. It was just like
Maybe.
walking the streets with my brother, or being at a friend's house, or just not going.
Like, it is hard for a mom, single mom, couple kids, and
trust that they go to school.
and she's got to go to work, and you're hoping that there's some structure. But you got to you got to buy milk, you got to pay rent, you got to do. Yeah.
And what kind of stories do you have? Like when you were little, do you remember anything like that?
I actually do. I remember being in.
I'll help you out with that. Just keep talking.
She has
think
the
I-
Fernando syndrome where we love to touch our mics.
Diving on her a little bit, so like this. It'll come up. It should be stabilized.
Oh, thank you very much. Actually, in 1st grade, my biggest memory of being at a friend's house, I had a sleepover, and her name was Brooke, and that was my first time ever seeing somebody drunk. And
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty it was like
Impressionable, right?
impressionable, and he had actually picked up his wife by her neck when he was drunk.
So
and-
drunk and violent.
Yes.
Mm.
And it scared me to the point where I'm like, do I feel safe? And I was in 1st grade. That's 6 years old.
Yeah.
That's around the same time.
Wow, I get that, Susanna, because there was when I was young. I remember my mom was young, and was an incredible woman, but there were times when she would have teenagers over, because she was barely a teenager, and they would drink, and I never felt safe, and I felt like I was the one checking the stove, making sure the door was locked.
Wow.
It's weird, right? Because I don't think kids are supposed to feel that at a young age. You're supposed to be 24 when you have to deal with that stuff, not 4, not 6.
So I'm guessing there wasn't a lot of money.
No. My I mean,
She provided.
I remember food stamps back when it was paper.
Yeah.
Having to go wait in line, and then
Yeah.
we were like excited for food stamps because that means we got Pop-Tarts and ramen noodles.
I know. You're nailing it, though. Some of my favorite potato chips are from Aldi's, because Aldi's was for poor people back then. I know
Oh,
it's
for
not
sure.
anymore.
Right. Yeah.
For
back
sure.
then,
But
I
it was
get
for us.
Yeah.
Until you rich people decided to have fruit in it. There was no fruit.
Yeah.
Wow.
You did tell me a story, so how did this play out in school? So I get like at the home life was kind of crazy. So how does this play out in school as far as, did you get picked on? Were you a popular kid? Like, how'd that work out?
So I actually started gaining weight probably 3rd grade. I started packing on the pounds, and that led to a lot of bullying situations, getting name called, and I was so big that I was wearing my mom's sweatpants all the time. I was just wearing sweatpants, and everybody called me sweatpant girl.
I'm so glad this is going to be a video. And you know exactly why I'm saying that, right?
Right.
Because she's saying that there was a time she was not very happy with the way she wasn't healthy. That's why.
Right.
But then if you look at Susanna now, she's extraordinarily attractive and healthy. She's both, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I imagine that came into play for
Right.
you, Fernando. But
Right.
I'm so glad this is also a video.
Yeah.
But please keep going. So you're wearing your mom's sweatpants.
Yes. We didn't have money to afford the things that other people had in school. So growing up in Highland had ritzy kids. You know, back then I always wanted a pair of Fat Farms. with the strap, and I could never afford that.
Yeah.
And like I just remember wanting those things and not being able to have those things. But the sweatpants, that was something that stuck with me for a really long time because it traveled through middle school, still being called sweatpant girl.
Wow.
Yeah, kids are brutal.
Oh my gosh.
Kids are brutal.
Yeah, they have. Oh my God.
Wow. So, did you stay in Highland area, or like what happened after?
So I
you said
was
middle school.
I was 13 when my mom had met my stepdad. My
Okay.
mom met my stepdad online.
I like to call him Ricardo. Richard.
Wow.
I call him Ricardo.
Online was a thing then?
Yes.
Must have been the beginning of online.
It was where, you know, like probably
Dial up.
Like
dial up. It was probably,
Match.com
I'm sure it was on dial up because I remember doing my own.
Yeah, Ricardo. What a great guy. And what's crazy, Ricardo owns one of the oldest
Junkyard.
junkyards in Chicago.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Ain't that awesome?
Yeah, it is cool. I need a windshield.
Yeah,
I got you.
So yeah, those are you know, he's a great guy. So anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
So what happened after?
But he's
that?
a good man. Your mom met a good man.
He became a good man.
That's what I love it.
Okay.
Great.
Awesome.
And I think it was really hard for us to accept. It was, you know, my mom dating when I was younger, you know, not knowing who to trust, who to be around, you know, different men. Like seeing a lot of different things being so young, you don't understand until you get older and understand it. And so, 13 years old, probably a few months in, we move in with him. And we're sleeping, and I remember sleeping on a papasan, like, circle. You know how, like, the papasans dip in and it's like a padding? Yeah. I remember me and my brother, we would sleep on that, and the bed, we would share a room.
Yeah.
This is still in Highland?
No, this is in Portage. Well, South Haven.
Okay. She was a Havenite. Okay.
A Haven, I've never heard of that. I heard of South Haven Mafia.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, but the Papasan.
Yeah.
You graduated from the Papasan to
having a room.
So how was it going to new school, are you still chubby?
Yeah.
Are you still...
I was still chubby.
Okay.
I was actually, this is where people were like, oh my goodness. So I was 13 years old and I was probably about 210 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty big girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
you're tall. You probably wore it well, I suppose, but you were not healthy.
No.
And that's the bottom line.
Well, this is the one part that she told me. One time she was in a car tying her shoes. And what happened? That was the moment you decided to change.
I love this. This is the moment.
That actually was to come, but it was a moment.
Sorry, I didn't mean
No.
to cut you off.
It was a moment of seeing like movies where like you see these kids propping their feet up on the dashboard and they're just like chilling. Well, I tried.
Wow.
And I couldn't. Trying to hike my knees up, and I'm like, ugh!
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it. And that's where I'm like, something's got to give.
Yeah.
Like, why can't, I'm a young person, why can't I just hike my legs up on the dashboard? And I still, to this day, hike my feet up on the dashboard.
She does like that.
She what do they call that? Like, it's like a gamer's achievement.
Yeah, for
she
sure.
got it.
You got it.
It's a constant reminder.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
So was that did you start changing your diet or like?
And
start
could you,
working
because you
out,
guys
or
weren't
what
loaded,
happened?
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like, I don't think we grew up. I just told my brother the other day, I called him, I go, I don't remember having fruit in our house. He's like, oh, we had mac and cheese. I'm like, I can't believe it, because I don't remember having bananas.
Right.
I remember grapes.
You had something, you know.
Grapes were really cheap, though.
So
then.
you did start to make a change, though.
So I like going real quick back to
No, go
the
ahead.
coming to Portage, and it was, middle school. So in Highland, you go to middle school in 6th grade.
Okay.
And in Portage, it's 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Yeah.
So I was 5th going into 6th. So I was right in the middle.
Yeah.
So it was like I didn't know nobody.
You knew no one. This is a big, Portage is big.
Yeah.
And I went to Willow Creek, so I mean,
Yeah.
that's a big middle school.
That's big.
Not knowing anybody, and it was super scary.
Oh, I can't only imagine.
And I'm so thankful that I had met some people, but they were all like, I would say like, we were all little loners. Like,
Yeah, like a little bit of a misfits club.
yeah,
right?
for sure,
But
for sure.
You know, yeah, but I mean, there's some camaraderie in that.
Yeah. You guys all fit in with each other.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I thought so.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
for the longest time, in middle school, we would hang out and sleepovers, and we would always talk about like different rock bands
Yeah.
and like Guns N' Roses and like being groupies.
Yeah.
But they were the groupies, and I was just the milkman.
Yeah,
I was like, why was I just the milkman? Why was I just delivering the milk? Why can't I enjoy like?
Right.
But I didn't realize that it might have been more to it.
yeah.
Like a derogatory statement, maybe.
Like,
Yeah.
was I even accepted within my own friends?
Yeah. Because you were a little different than even them. Right?
Yeah.
But I guess you didn't feel alienation in the moment, or at least not as much as you had been feeling by people who were just being cruel and idiotic.
Yeah.
Right?
I
Sometimes
felt-
we'll take what we can get.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. I don't
For
know if
real.
that's a great thing, but I know that I've survived on it too.
Yeah, for sure.
All my friends are tall.
That's
Jay will just keep going.
So, yeah, I definitely took what I can, and I still occasionally talk to them.
That's so cool.
Especially Raquel. I've been friends with her since 6th grade.
Wow.
And she lives in Vegas. She's one of,
One of our
Very, very cool.
closest friends.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, crazy though. It's crazy that we're still friends.
Yeah,
Like,
it
the
is, because
stories-
it's pretty rare. I only have a few friends from high school, like that are still part of my life.
That are a good influence,
Yeah.
even still through the age of time. Like, you've gone through so many things, and you guys have still come together. And like, look, you guys are two awesome men of God, and
Thank
you guys
you.
can discuss that.
Yeah, this is not about us though. Let's keep it focused, young lady.
See how you tried
But
to
I
spin
mean,
it?
social media allows us to be remotely connected to people. But I like that I can tell that maybe you and Raquel, you don't just have just like one message a year. You know, it's like when a time hop pops up and it's a picture of you guys. No, it sounds like it's a little deeper than that, and you're blessed to have that, right? Because you got a family, you got boys, you got handsome sons.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. They're
Yeah,
handsome.
you do. I agree. They're fun and they're rambunctious. And,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
and they're awesome. So, so you then I want to tell you a few things. Let me just say something. Okay, so I do a fair amount of bragging on my wife. Probably not as much, and this is not. I'm not giving him props. Probably not as much as he brags on you. One of the things he used to tell me from the before the billboard and all this stuff, which I knew about this for a long time, and I was just about to send you an email. I'm like, I don't know when this thing's going up, and he's going to say it. You know, he's going to pop the question. But one of the things he would always say about you is that you were such a hard worker. Like when there was a time when I know you were doing some nanny work, and when you were working at Amazon, and he always talks about how your grind is why you excel, and he just would constantly say to me that he doesn't even know how you do it because he knew you were taking care of your kids, he knew you were working full time, and now I listen to the story where you need stability and you know that you can work for it. It makes things simple. I love introspectives. Junior's origin stories often make so much sense when he makes us tell them, right? You know, like, because I know some background information on who you are as a person because I'm blessed to have you in my life. And now it makes so much sense, Susanna.
Yeah, it takes it up a notch.
No one needs to take care of Susanna. She's with Fernando because she wants to be with him. She chooses
That's
him.
it. Yeah.
And he chooses her because you could take care of yourself.
I don't need.
Yeah.
I want.
You want, right.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell Missy. I'm like, girl, you just want me. You don't need me, right? It's huge. I love that about a relationship.
Got to pop that collar for myself now. So, all right. I think we're getting close to like 9th grade now.
9th grade.
So that's a huge detrimental point in my life. That is probably one of the hardest parts of my life is freshman year in high school.
Wow.
So was there a glow up? Did you start?
I did start losing some weight. I started swimming for Portage.
Wow.
So I swam, and
Working out, stuff
So
like that.
it wasn't necessarily I was eating healthy, but I was working out. I never knew what fitness could do to your body. I mean, I would still be eating McDonald's, like, you know.
Yeah, sure.
Chicken tenders after practice, and trying to get my knees up to my chest in the car ride home.
Watching the progress every day, right?
Right.
What are you doing in the car again, girl? Shut up, Mom.
Get your legs off the dash. She didn't understand that it took you a while to get there, and now you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Swimming.
Yeah, and the reason I knew, and she's a great swimmer. She like floats and dances on the water.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Real swimmers and they glide.
I sink.
Yeah, me too.
Like
buddy.
a rock.
Me
Yeah,
too,
so
man.
it's like, yeah, it's not even fair. But sorry, go ahead. I digress.
So I swam, and I mean, there's only very few parts of my freshman year that I remember, and they were like the huge parts. So like 2 different things had happened with my friend Raquel. We're closer. I mean, 6th grade, 7th, 8th, 9th. We're in 9th grade now, and we're hanging out. We're BFFs now.
Yeah.
And so we're hanging out at her house, and I was spending the night at her house that night, and we were up late at night, and we were watching MTV music videos.
Oh yeah.
And she fell asleep, and her brother actually like snuck in. He called me over, and then I was like, oh, like what? So I went and I saw what he like was wanting, and I ended up in the closet, and I ended up getting raped. And all I remember is like there was a WWE show on in his room, and his friend was there. And I remember banging on the door, like hearing banging on the door as I was just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And then after, he said, don't tell nobody, and sent me back to my friend's room. I did not tell anybody.
Yeah.
And except for my mom. I did end up telling my mom.
Man.
And then I went to the doctor and got checked out. And at that moment, though, it was more like I felt so much shame.
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from? Like, what had just happened? I felt more shame that, like, my mom felt disgusted that I might have just, like...
Man, the devil's bad, dude. I mean, to be honest with you, dude.
Yeah.
He's so stupid.
It's crazy. Like,
Yeah, the fact that you would feel that is crazy, actually. Like it was your fault, and like you should be ashamed, like you chose it.
Well, that's how I felt. I felt
Yeah.
like that's how my mom portrayed it. Like, I felt a little, like, this is not what I wanted, but I didn't know anything.
Yeah. You know, sometimes as parents, if we are put in a situation and we don't know how to handle that
How to fix
situation,
it,
it might come off like that, or we might not know exactly what to say, because I'm sure she loves you very much.
Oh,
and-
Yeah.
I know
She
that.
does. They don't teach a class for that, right? There's no
you
You only know what you know.
Exactly.
man.
So did Raquel and your relationship end?
So our friendship didn't end, but I did have to
Distance.
stop spending the night there. My
Sure.
mom did have us stop spending the night. And I actually started like looking for new friends, because I'm like, well, maybe this isn't the greatest. So in a huge school at Portage, I mean, there's there's
1,000 freshmen.
Yeah. At that time, I think there was like 600 and something. And so I started like hanging out with, I've always been very attracted to like the Latin culture, so I started hanging out with some Latin girls, and I cannot remember her name to this day, but I remember us trying to become friends, and she invited me to a party, and I don't remember how it all went down, but all I remember is I know she covered for me, and we went. So like her mom covered for me, and we went to the party.
Yeah.
First party?
First party.
Outside of like, you've never been to a house party?
Never been to a house party, and I didn't wear my first pair of pants till I was 10 years old.
Right.
Oh yeah, she grew up like fundamental Baptist.
Wow.
I forgot to add that into the story.
Wow.
Yeah.
I grew up
Go ahead.
I grew up Baptist. First party, didn't know what to expect. I went there, and I remember it was a house in Gary, and it was being like, I remember a really loud like noise, and it was a generator. It was
The house did not have electricity.
No, it was being run by a generator.
There's some gas on that.
Yeah, that's the sound. I just didn't want to make the sound.
Come on, girl, you can do it.
Yeah.
I'm not the greatest on the sound effects.
Don't worry, we got it covered.
Yeah.
So the house is being powered by a generator, and I'm sure it's a house party, so there's something going on, right? I mean,
There was people involved. There was some. It seemed
Music.
pretty chill. I mean, there was some people hanging out on the couch, and it wasn't very light. There wasn't any disco lights or anything
No?
like that. It was just like a
there
low
was a chill
lights.
party.
Yeah,
Chill.
and so they offered me my first drink, and I might have drinking before that, but I'm saying like first drink at this party, and all I remember is that first drink. That first drink led to me waking up being raped by 4 different people on a dishwasher.
Susanna, I don't know what's going on. Jeez, Pete, man. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming also. I just want to say this. It's hard to even imagine that you're a well-adjusted, functioning person. It's extraordinary. I'm just being honest. It's like story after story.
Mm-hmm.
The world.
You're really brave, babe.
Yeah, you're brave.
I know that God got me through it though.
Yeah, I know he did. You're right.
You did.
Yeah, it's so wonderful that you know it too.
And I'm still alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in the course of any of this, was there any like justice for you ever?
So actually it got worse.
What, with that story that you just told, that first drink was laced.
Yeah, roofied.
It had roofied, yeah. So, and upon further investigation, the craziest thing that her and I have deep conversations about.
Yeah,
Things
wonderful.
that have happened.
Mhm.
You know, I want her to continue to grow from these experiences. I always say, you know, you overcome by the word of your testimony.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something her and I work on. And the craziest thing is she remembered that the driver that took her to the party
Yeah.
was involved in this incident as well. So if you can just imagine the feeling of betrayal.
Yeah.
and
Oh my
all
gosh.
the-
Yes, of course.
You know, and he was a friend of the girl that she just befriended that took her to the party. So, you know, and this next part, like I said, this story has never been told. She's never told anybody. Her mom will be hearing this on this show for the first time. She never did tell anybody about this. And I don't want to stop you, love. Go ahead. I'm sorry. So
I just remember trying to push off like I know there was a grown man, and so there was 4 people.
You're how old?
I was 16. I just I can't do anything. Like I literally am paralyzed.
You're paralyzed.
I just remember saying no, get off me. Try to push some, but you know, like one of those old portable dishwashers. That's exactly what it was.
Wow.
And my pants were at my ankles and trying to get up. And then I don't know, but I got home, and I remember like I got home.
Yeah.
But the shame that came with that was undescribable.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I have to go to school. I have to go to school with those people that just took me there.
Yeah. And that's when she told me that part of the story. That's what I asked her. I was like, "So you went to school that Monday?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "What happened, love?" Like,
So I mean, I'm walking the school hallways, and Portage is big, and I just, I've always been picked on, so I always feel like people are talking about me, and so I listen. I'm very observant and attentive to like what people were saying around me, and hey, is that the girl from the video?
Oh my God.
yeah.
Is that her? And I was like, wait, what video? I have no recollection of what happened. So how was I supposed to know that there was even a video? And then supposedly, I have never seen this, but I have heard that there was a video that had taken place. And yeah,
Yeah.
So I did still go to school even after
I mean,
that.
that's crazy. That the next day.
Oh yeah, I was on a Saturday night, and then she's ended up going back to school
On
that
Monday.
following Monday. So I mean, so is there any other little part that you want to talk, or is there something else that you want to add to what you just said?
After that, I stopped going to school. It was my freshman year. I stopped. My mom, we decided to, I'm going to do quotations because it was homeschooling. We didn't homeschool. I worked. I ended up getting a job. My first job was training hunting dogs.
Wow. Yeah, you have interesting.
Right?
Yeah, you're even your career now. So, and I will touch on that.
Yeah, we will.
But
Go ahead. So you worked for what, the next how many years?
So I was out of school for 2 years. And through that 2 years.
So it would have been your sophomore and junior year, no school,
Correct.
just work.
Just work.
wow.
And different, like, people, learning new people,
Yeah.
being in different jobs. All during those times was training hunting dogs. I was a housekeeper at Country Inn and Suites. I managed a Japanese steakhouse.
Wow.
That was where I feel like my work was to run away from all my problems, to mask the pain.
Yeah.
And
Just
that's-
like adopt a new life that
Yeah.
had nothing to do with what you should have been able to do, which was go to school like a normal 17-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never enjoyed school though.
Yeah.
So I really didn't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now working, where you're making a life for yourself. I remember you telling me that you even bought a car during that time.
So actually, my dad gave me my first car.
Okay.
The one that
But you
owns
had
the
a
junkyard.
car, and you're, putting gas in it. You're going to work. You're doing all these different things. Did you go back to school, and what prompted you to go back to school?
So, a man I got involved with ended up convincing me that my family didn't love me. And being young and manipulated,
Vulnerable, gullible a little bit, right?
Yeah, trying to, find love in all the wrong places.
Yeah.
I ended up believing him, trying to run away, and I told my mom I was going to kill myself. And at that moment in my life, my mom, out of disparity, called people from my church, like the church that I grew up in.
Sure.
And they prayed with me, and I went back to school.
Wow.
Senior year, I just jumped in, had no idea what I was doing. Senior year, didn't know what I needed to have in place.
Right.
I don't know what they've been doing the last couple years.
Right.
And so I went back to school, and better yet, I went to Hammond Baptist,
Wow.
which was a Baptist high school. So living in the world, and then all of a sudden having to wear skirts past your knees, and you can't drink, you can't smoke, you can't do any of these things. So it was a total life change.
Yeah.
Total life change.
Wow. On the way here, I said, love, this story sounds really sad right now, but ultimately there's a reason why you want to tell this story. There's a reason why you know, it has to come out now for you. All the work that you've been doing on yourself, and you know, the things that you want to change. And we talked about being a living testimony.
Yeah.
And so why did you decide to bring this out now?
I think it's crazy because we just did this discipleship class, and I had to write my testimony.
Yeah.
And that means you have to dig.
You gotta dig.
You got to dig into the
if you want it
things
to
that
really
hurt.
matter.
Yeah. And to be able to be relatable to the people that are hurting now. Our world is so ugly and nasty, and people are going through this, and some people, you know,
Think there's no way out.
yeah,
They think there's no way out.
and there is.
And they're like, why do I feel this shame? And then they look at you and they're like, she felt it too. And look at her though. Look how she's been blessed and gotten through it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's humongous, Susanna.
So is it also for some type of awareness?
Yeah, like I believe that other girls have gone through this and are going through this, and to speak out against people that, or like even going to people's houses. Discernment is a
man.
huge thing,
It's so huge.
and our parents should be using that. Our kids
should.
should be like, if you don't feel safe, don't go.
Yeah. Yeah, like young ladies and young men, you give your parents a hard time for not letting you go somewhere, but we want you to know it's not because they want your life to be boring. It's because they want you to be alive.
Yeah.
Right? And you're courageously telling this story that you went to these places and you tried to trust the people who were around you, and at least in a few instances it was terrible for you. So
I think it goes to being like rebellious. Like if my mom did not want me to go to these places,
right,
and do these things, and rebellion is not something that we should be doing.
because you did say this lady covered for me, right? So there was this help, because apparently you knew you shouldn't have. And I'm obviously we're not talking about it's your fault.
Yeah.
We're just saying there was a moment of discernment. That we'd love someone to hear this story and not have to live through that, right, Susanna?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Wow. Do you feel like some of these events help shape the future Susanna, and like some decisions that you made when you were like in your, I don't know, when you got out of high school? Is that something that, what happened after that? Like,
Well, I just continued to, like, knowing that my strength was working. Like, I was a workhorse. And I do remember my biological father working a lot. Like, as a young girl, I remember him working for Dunkin' Donuts, and he was always gone. He was, and not that I admired that at all.
Yeah.
But, like, working and keeping focus on something else.
Yeah, it is a DNA thing, I think.
Passed down.
That guy's right there. He's probably late for work. No, it really is. And I think there is a worker gene, if there's such a thing, but you know what I mean. It's definitely a trait in people and probably inheritable.
Yeah. So, one of the things we talk about here on the MentalEdge is being a goal getter.
Goal getter.
A goal getter. And
Check
that's,
that episode out, right?
Yeah. If you haven't checked out that episode, shameless plug. But yeah, I feel like that's one of the things that happened. It kind of shaped you into this person that wanted to, I know that you purchased a house at a young age. I know that you got married at a young age. That was a goal that you had. You got beautiful son Jackson from that marriage. But also, it also gave you bad habits as well. And, we don't have to get into all that, but some of the good habits that came out of it, how did that work out? Like, how did you make the life change? What did you go through some bad stuff, more bad stuff, and then finally come to the realization, all right, yeah, enough is enough? Or like, how did that play out?
So I was always looking like for togetherness. Like I didn't have that, and always wanting a family, being a wife, being a mom. I've always wanted that.
But that all-American stability, you wanted it.
At one point, I looked at my grandma and my grandpa, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're still married. They've been together for so long. And the way my grandpa loved my grandma, like, it was cute. Like, still holding each other's hand while they cross the street, open the doors. And
That's I had to reach out.
Yeah.
I looked up to that, even though, like, you don't know what happens behind closed doors.
Sure.
So you have this like fairy tale in your mind, and you think it's going to make everything like, you know, golden eggs. And so I worked towards that. I was like, well, all right, well, I'm going to get out. I'm going to work. I'm going to get out of the house, and I'm going to get married, and I'm going to have my family.
Yeah.
And nothing's going to separate that.
Wow.
And so I got married at 19, right out of high school, and to my first husband, that's Jackson's dad, and we were together for 4.5 years, and it was a goal, and I made it, and it just continued. Like my goals, I feel like I debauch my goals, but when they come to like if it not being my goal, which we'll get into, they seem to soar.
Wow.
Because it was my goal to get married, my goal to have a family.
Okay.
And out of selfishness, those things did not work out. I ended up divorced, 24 years old, and a single mom.
Yeah.
Felt like a failure. I felt like my goals failed. And so at 24, looking love for all the wrong places again, I get pregnant with the twins, not by my ex-husband. So crazy, because it's like shame just wanted to keep coming in, and realizing that shame is from the devil, and like the enemy just wants to like hold you captive. It's crazy to me, because I was sitting in the lawyer's office for child support for my son, and he goes, do I need to take the second baby daddy to court for them as well? Because I was still with him though. And I was like, I felt shame in that.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, are you saying something to me, like of who I am?
Yeah.
Do I sense something? What are you calling me?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It was crazy, but all
You're
those
a keen
things.
observer too, you know. So, which means you think a lot about those things.
Sometimes I overthink.
Sure. I think that's you know, you don't get to be a keen observer and that not be part of it.
Right. Exactly. So when was the life change? Like so now you're having twins, you know, that part of your life happens.
Still working like a horse, because at that point, their dad wasn't necessarily like working a lot. He actually started working when I got pregnant with the twins. He's a few years younger than I am. So I just remember I was actually a legal secretary. So the list goes on. And so I was working for Icorn in Hammond, and I was pregnant for my whole pregnancy. I was working there.
Wow.
And I remember living in a little 2-bedroom apartment in Highland with Jackson, and at that time I was like, I don't need nobody. Like, I need to get out of this 2-bedroom apartment. There was 5 of us here, and I had I wanted to buy a house, and I was determined. And so at 24, I bought my house.
Wow.
All by myself.
Crazy.
No cosigner at all. And that was like, it took me a long time. I was actually sitting in a car with Fernando we were in Florida, and I was like, God has been with me since before this time. I was like, there is no way.
You had a revelation.
I did, because I was like, how is that possible? I was 24 years old, only
It's
making
not.
$20,000 a year. $20,000.
Killing yourself for 20,000.
Exactly.
So, you mentioned God was with you. Did at any point, like, how did that come into play? How did you connect with?
Oh, so I know, like, we're always searching for something until we find it.
Yeah.
Until we find it, everybody's looking for something.
Yeah.
Whether it's, a different faith or, somebody, we're looking for something.
Mm-hmm.
Until you find it, you're not content.
Yeah.
So I had wanted to go to church. Like, I grew up in church, and I'm like, what
What's out there?
Yeah, like, it's not going to hurt if we try. Like, and I'm looking for something. I need joy. I need happiness, because there's just chaotic, and it wasn't good. So I started looking for a church. I remember before the twins' dad, we had a domestic violence dispute. There was some hands being...
Susanna throws bows.
Boom.
No.
I'm just goofing off. So you guys
We have an altercation, and
you guys separate, and
yes, he moves out, and at that time I was actually a bartender at Hooters, and from one side to the other.
Yeah. Oh, but you notice she's never like, at that time I was unemployed.
No.
Exactly.
You're never.
She's never been unemployed.
Yeah.
I don't think I can. I don't
know.
think I could sit still long enough to be unemployed.
No.
I'll end up getting a job sitting at a restaurant.
Yeah.
All right. So
I was working at Hooters, and somebody invited me to Jubilee Worship Center.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, like, why not? Like,
Yeah.
But what was interesting is that it was a man. I was like, oh, somebody was interested in me, but I liked that he was interested in church.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
because that's what you were looking for.
Because I was looking for church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were looking for God. You just didn't know it yet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what was different about this church and the church you grew up in? Like, what was...
Well, let me tell you, it was just the Holy Spirit. Let me tell you.
Yeah, this is awesome.
So did you immediately, like, connect? Like, whoa, I like this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Holy
Resonated
Spirit,
with you right away. Like, you're like, okay.
You like putting your hands up and...
It was interesting because I'm like, I'm going for the word. I'm going for the word. Because that's how I was fed as I was like in my senior year of high school, and prior to that I just remember it was the word that got me. I was like, it has to be an illustration so that I can try to like understand it. But I realized, wow, like these women are like praising the Lord. I've never seen that like this before. And this is like the Holy Spirit, it like gut wrenched me as soon as I walked in and was like, wow, this is my home. And I mean, it's been going on 5 years, and it's been an amazing experience and
incredible journey, right?
Yeah, adventure journey.
So
you have there's a great support system of women. I see your core group that you take pictures with sometimes. I think, and you're a marquee member of that group. You're not just a benefactor, you're a contributor to that group. I can tell.
Yeah, and that's where she met me.
So clearly, there was one problem with Jubilee.
Well, the one problem is they had one handsome man.
Yeah, that's about the time I started seeing pictures of. I'm talking to this girl, and I'm like, I'm like, bro, you dating up? You dating up?
Yep. Tell the story of how I got your attention. Well, at least that story.
Did he start breakdancing?
No. So once I started going to Jubilee, I dived in.
Yeah.
I mean, it went from not going to church to every Sunday, every Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then, after that, like we got
Being involved.
Yeah,
and
being more involved, being helping hands.
outside,
Yeah.
Yeah. Agape 127. Shout out to them. 'Cause that's what the class where we were in.
Yes, we were in Agape, and I remember we were sitting at a table and we were doing a Bible study, and he was drawing.
Oh, boy.
Creative over
oh,
here.
man, he's planting them seeds, man.
Go ahead.
He was drawing, and I, of course, I'm.
The same game, bro. Since the third grade. Keep going. All right.
Who was in third grade? I'm just.
Who wasn't?
So he's always had the ladies, huh?
Well,
Yeah.
it is talent is attractive. And then when it comes in this package here with perfect facial hair and muscles, I guess it's even better. But anyway.
I
You're too
enjoy it.
kind. Thank you.
Anyway, keep going. So you're in Agape. He's drawing.
Drawing.
He was drawing on a
Sketching.
coffee cup,
Oh yeah, those little white ugly coffee cups. Yeah.
styrofoam cup,
Styrofoam cup. Yeah.
and he had like drew an eye, and then he just drew like some abstract like designs, and there was like a little cross, but it wasn't finished.
Mm?
And at the end of the class, I was like, "What are you doing with that cup?"
You gonna throw it away?
And he was like, "I made it for you."
Oh.
I was like, "Really?"
Spitting game.
Man, you're muy peligroso.
Muy peligroso. All right, dangerous.
Very dangerous.
So yeah, that was. I just want to tell this one part. So honestly, the attractive part for me was. I mean, she's a beautiful woman.
Yes.
She really is. But the attractive part for me was seeing what she was talking about a little while ago, where, when that love that you had for God and that energy that I seen, day after day, week after week, that's what put you on the radar for me. Like, oh,
yeah.
wow, she really loves God. You know what I mean? She really has, like she has a purpose, and that was important for me, and that was the huge attraction for me. So she, not only was she beautiful outside, but she was beautiful inside, which made a huge difference.
Because you're a seasoned man. You've seen many beautiful women and know that they're also ugly in ways.
Correct.
To see that both of those things were melded together
Yeah.
was probably absolutely awesome for you.
Correct. Awesome. Yes. I agree. So then we befriended each other on
Snapchat.
and Facebook and social media, and liked each other's comments here and there. That turned into
A bold decision on my part.
yep.
Hey, when are you going to finish this cup?
Dang.
And I'm like,
That's so cool, man.
yeah. So she invited me over.
And he came right over.
You remember Ricochet Rabbit? Bing, bing, bing.
Yeah.
I was doing that through Lake Station heading to Hobart. And that was we stayed up all night talking and getting to know each other. And yeah, those were awesome moments that, you'll never forget. And that turned into, I feel like, a fast track to marriage for me. For Susanna, it probably wasn't fast enough. But, I had hurts and things that hang-ups.
Yeah. It's two people coming together, not
Yes,
just, right?
Yes. And,
To hurt people coming together.
yeah. And I knew that whatever I do for this woman, I want it to be super, super duper special.
Yeah.
So when it comes to proposing, I just didn't want it to be like everybody else.
I mean, the way you asked me to be your girlfriend was already over the top, so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. I didn't forget, but I forgot we talk about it right now. Yeah.
He asked me to be his girlfriend at the Grand Canyon.
Dang.
Like, how do you top that? I mean, actually, I didn't even realize he was asking me to be his
like a terrible
girlfriend.
husband.
Wait. This is funny. Wait. This is funny. Hey. I didn't realize that he was asking me out. That's what she just said.
So I gave him, like, honestly, I was like an ultimatum because, like, 6 months, he didn't want it, like, I don't trust a lot of people. 6 months of just talking, like, what are we doing? Like, I need some title here. Like, I want a title. And I was like, 6 months. Sorry, buddy. You gone.
Yeah.
At 6 months, like almost 6 months on the dot, we're in the Grand Canyon. And he's sitting with me, and he's like, do you know that only eagles soar with eagles? And I'm like, what?
Sounds so corny now that she's replaying.
And
All right, go ahead. Keep going. I'd love to hear from you.
He's like,
What? Eagles soar with eagles.
yeah.
are we on like a nature show or something? I don't know.
And he's like, no other birds can fly at the altitude of eagles. And he knows
Yeah.
like all these things about eagle fact. Like he's
Yeah.
giving me a bunch of eagle facts. And I'm over here like, can you just enjoy this view? And I'm having like an anxiety attack because I'm so high and I've never been like,
Right. It's crazy.
And we're like at the
It's
edge
crazy.
looking
It's so
down.
crazy.
It's crazy.
It's
Yeah.
an amazing
Yeah.
thing.
And
Wow.
And he's just like, do you want to soar with me? And I'm like, what? Like, you want to soar with you?
He's getting all metaphorical.
Yeah.
And
You know how I do.
Yeah. I know how I do.
And I was just like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm asking you to buy a girlfriend.
Will you go out with me, God?
Jeez.
I was like, finally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was that, and that kind of led to the billboard when
And you.
That was a long time.
I again. That's for her it seemed longer, but
yeah.
but honestly, I knew that once I proposed, we were gonna get married right away. We weren't gonna play around no more. So, from the billboard and me asking you to marry me to actually getting married, how long was that?
Only 2 weeks.
Quick.
Shaka.
There you go.
Bam.
I mean, but I did wait 3 years. And in that 3 years, like, trying to have we were celibate. We had a family.
I didn't know if none of you guys are going to talk about that, but
Yeah.
Like,
it's okay. When people look at you two in this video, I promise you, there's going to be people that go, ain't no way he stayed off that. Ain't no way she didn't climb up on that.
it was really hard.
But
we went on multiple vacations.
I know.
And we stayed.
Yeah.
And I believe you 100%. I really do. But it is hard to believe because you are two very attractive people, and I have trouble. Going a week without climbing on my wife. It's very hard.
We had to be strong for one another.
Yeah.
Like if anything were to get overboard, we're like, hey, whoa, we got to stop. Like,
Yeah.
I know.
I wanted her to understand because I know that she's been. I knew that you've been through so much. I felt like I wanted to build trust, and if she could trust that I won't do that to her or go outside of
in that long period of time.
Yeah.
Wow.
To get with somebody else or pornography or any of those things, in hopes that she'll know that I'm building trust with her and not going to do anything.
And you let her know without even realizing it, or maybe she did realize it, that those things that were taken from her, they weren't the reason you wanted to be with her.
No.
Right?
No, that's not the reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an element.
Yeah.
But
sex is wonderful, but
dude,
it was
that's
more
deep.
important for me to
Build foundation.
Yeah. And let's be honest, it is worth the wait. I know it sounds crazy, but it is worth the wait.
Yep. Yeah.
Jeez.
That was our love story.
It was worth the wait when we were able to actually do it. So we waited so long. The night of our wedding, he almost died. Not in a good way.
She almost killed me.
He's like, I'm shriveling up like a piece of beef jerky. Oh, man.
Jay, you don't even know. No, it was his diabetes. His sugar was so low, he
Yeah, 'cause you were taking all the sugar, girl. That's what's happening.
She was sucking all the sugar out of me.
Oh, man, you guys. And so we do need to...
Yeah.
This show is so good. It's the longest in a long time, and every minute of it's beautiful.
Yeah.
What I want people to know, I want to say this to you, too, is so the other day when you guys came, Missy threw me that 50th birthday party, and you guys came, and Missy's sister's Missy's crazy cool, but Missy's sister's crazy cool, too. and we were working on a project together. She let me work on a project together. So we were huddled up over in the corner of the room working on it, basically tossing things. And she was listening though, because she's like the VP of many things. She's incredible. And she listened and she said this to me. She said, "Did that girl just say she's an auto mechanic?"
Oh yeah. She's an auto mechanic.
I said, yeah. She goes, she looks at me with her eyes squinted. She goes, "You go, girl." She didn't say it to you.
Yeah.
But she's like, I said, "I know. It's incredibly ironic, right?" She's like, "Yeah." I said, "Yes. She has many, many, many things that she has done that would blow your mind." And I just thought it was so cool that this other alpha female was looking your way, and you don't even know that she was giving you a nod. She really was, you know,
for sure.
because you're so crazy legit. And the fact I see your Instagrams, I love them. I don't know if you do them all the time, but pulling like a strut out of an Audi, you know, and then
Yeah, those are.
they're cool.
Again, yeah, she's blessed that she has an amazing boss. That,
Yeah.
you know,
'Cause you're cool.
Is a good teacher.
You're cool.
But the credit for the tinkering part of it, I have to give it back to her, and I'll tell you why. She, even if at home, she's one of those people that if she takes something apart, she has to put it back together.
Love
Or
it.
If it
Love
opens the box, it's getting made type. You know what I mean? If she got the tools, and if she doesn't have the tools, she'll find a way.
Here we gonna get them.
Yeah, she'll find a way to do it. You know, her backyard, like even her backyard, just the way she transformed it, like, it's crazy. Like you go back there and she's like, you know, turning the soil. It's solid rocks, but she
got to be working.
She got to do it. And
The other day he came home and I had put together a fire pit.
Oh,
yeah, I gotta send you a picture. It actually came out pretty dope.
I had some cinder block in
you assembled your own.
Oh, yeah,
fire.
yeah.
This one from Menards.
So my buddies
Correct.
gave me some cinder blocks, but they were like, the solid looking ones.
Pavers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, pavers, yeah, yeah.
And they've been sitting in the garage for a couple years, and I came home and she was like, "Look what I did in the backyard." I'm like, good Lord. Big old fire. I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah, it's already got a fire roaring in it.
Yeah.
I don't know, I did.
You're
I
awesome.
love it.
Yeah. And so to close too, I do want to also say that the Lord not only, you know, changed her life around, and it's a process. So, you know, it took a long time. Those things happen in a long period of time. Bad decisions happen, you know, it's like she didn't just make bad decisions for a little while, and you know, so it's going to it takes time to turn it around. But the awesome thing is that, you know, the Lord is turning it around and gave her a ministry, another purpose.
I saw it.
And yeah, it's called
Glow.
Glow.
It's Glow Cardio Worship.
What's Glow stand for?
God loves our worship.
Dang.
Yeah, she did.
I didn't know it was an acronym.
Yep.
That's so cool.
God loves our worship. Every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. 7 p.m. Sorry, but that's something. Just give us a quick like about Glow and how that all came about, and then we can close it out.
So jumping into like living Christ-like, and you know, working out was like super important to me. So I'm like, why can I not work out to like church music? Like, we don't have nothing like that. And I remember laying in bed, like I was a part of cardio drumming at the YMCA, where like it's the same thing that I have going on, but it was to secular music. And at some point in time, like as I was getting closer to God, I'm like, why are we listening to this provocative music? And I'm just like, I felt nasty. So I'm like, I was laying in bed, and God gave me the vision of like families coming together and worshiping and working out. And there's unity, and like your kids should see you worship, and it should be fun, and it should, you know, be interactive and active. And so I had that vision, and then I talked to my pastor, and he said, do it. And it's been going on for a whole year now.
That's crazy. And you took it to another level. He showed me stuff too. Like he showed me stuff before you had even had the class. He showed me the speaker that you bought. Right. And
Which was God given. If you think, like, honestly, I'm like, how did he provided?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
Real quick. I bought 7 buckets because I had taken some to Lake County Juvenile Center because I help out with Sade. And I had bought 7 buckets to replenish, and 19 showed up at my doorstep.
Wow.
And I only paid for the 9 that I bought.
Somehow, some way, the guy at the warehouse said, I'm just going to throw some extra ones in there or whatever.
Awesome.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? But,
It's God math.
God math doesn't make sense to us.
It doesn't, but
Yeah.
I tell her all the time about this space right here. I'm like, thanks for the fishes and the loaves. I see. I ain't even try to do the math. You know what I mean? It just keeps.
Yeah.
Just keep trusting, yeah.
Yeah.
Man. That was awesome.
That was such a good conversation and
You're so
courageous
Yes.
and powerful.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing,
Mm-hmm.
How God brought you from a place that seemed like disastrous, and it was in some ways, but in a lot of ways, but He brought you out and seen you through, and your faithfulness to Him is just wow. It's so amazing to see, and I'm so proud of you. And like Jay said, courageous, brave, is the words aren't enough, but that's all we can use to describe. But again, thank you so much for sharing with us and coming
you.
to the Mental Edge.
Yeah. And I think maybe how this goes in the end.
Yeah, you should know how.
Normally we
do it,
coach people,
but we're not going to coach.
but
you.
we're not going to coach you, and this is sort of a test. And if you don't pass, well.
Yeah, well, that's going to say a lot about you.
So my name is Jay Casey.
I'm Fernando Lopez Jr.
And I'm Susanna Lopez. And
This is the Mental Edge podcast.
we out. And we out. And we out.
Sincerely hope you enjoyed this episode of the Mental Edge podcast. Please remember to like, subscribe, follow, and share. Until next week, we out.